Get this file going. Just, I'll plug this in a moment. Got some people here chatting. Then you won't mind if I get up and do so. It really wasn't plugged in for very long there. I don't usually like to have the clicking sound on my device, and I'm just waiting for people to tune in. But it feels like it's been a while since I did a podcast, but it was really only Friday. No, Thursday night, I think. Um, um, I was hoping to have this charge, and then I was kind of listening for a message, nothing super urgent, but I was hoping to hear it ding out there while it was charging in the kitchen, and it didn't ding when a message came through, and because I had it set with notifications on, it also clicks and clacks when I type. Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. I will say this, though. One thing I'll start with maybe is that we shouldn't presume that somebody doesn't like something, even when we're being vulnerable, that we post. Like I sometimes say, sometimes people's devices die, sometimes they have a distraction in their environment. It's not that I don't, but my home environment is pretty lax compared to a lot of people that live with, many people. So I'm just putting on lotion. It's a little bit runny, that stuff. That's why I don't like it. But I'm just curious if you can hear this. I've been having difficulty getting clips to send through properly. Um, because that was the case. I know that Messenger was crashing a lot tonight. Um, Also, watch your typos. Sometimes you can be typing so fast, and autocorrect can say something that is also a word, but completely changes the meaning of something. But yeah, but it just wasn't sending the reply. And especially, I mean, I knew that this guy was cool about what we were talking about and everything, but still, this was kind of something unfamiliar to him that I was sharing, and then his replies didn't come through, and I wasn't sure what to think. But it was simply that they didn't come through, and when they did, um, it was lovely. So I'm just putting on some lotion. But yes, feel free to come into the chat. I haven't been rolling. Okay. best brother lives in there. Um, so yeah, feel free to join the chat, and if you have a question or a song request, I can try and help. I'm also trying to decide if I should let a new friend know that I'm rolling on here and invite him in to watch as well. Um, once he knows about the YouTube, he knows about the YouTube. But I mean, we're getting along quite well. I mean, and when I say recent friend, I mean quite recent. But now that I got this here, I think I'm going to turn off that clicking because kind of annoying. Although when there's no other sound. So we got somebody just tuned in. I've been rolling only about 8 minutes. But yes, if you have something you'd like some advice on in your life, um, or in general, if that makes sense, or a song request, I'm just finishing sending somebody something and I'll be right with you to see your comments. Um, um, yeah, so, and, obviously no judgment for the most part from me. Uh, you know, uh, and yeah, I'm happy to have you here. Um, I'll be more focused if we're chatting, and once I'm finished doing what I'm doing here, I'm gonna have to plug this device in soon, but this one's already plugged in. So, and I'm also curious whenever I see someone, people tuning in, uh, where you're watching from, if you've been to the channel before. There was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was. So, but yeah, um, Yeah, because like I say in the comments, I don't really have a topic. I mean, once I'm given one, I can probably roll with that quite a bit. Okay. Huh, that was interesting though. Somebody stayed for about 5 minutes, even when I was multitasking there. Um, but I mean, I want this to be worth it, so I'm hoping that hoping to get someone to tune in here. Even just one can make a difference. More than one is great, but even just one can make a nice difference. Um, and I have a little comment at the side in chat there. It essentially says what the title does, but it says a little bit more than that. And we got somebody here, and you just liked, so I do appreciate that. I kind of want to wait a moment just to see if you say something, and then I'll know whether you've been to the channel or not. Jonathan Carpenter, hi, how are you? Curious, have you ever been to this channel before? And if not, how did you come across it? And if you'd like to say where you're watching from, it's very, very interesting. I'm in Canada, and I was just talking to a new friend who's in Alabama, and I says, have you ever been to Canada? And he says he has, and his dad was born there. And I says, where? And one of the places is where I'm from, which I may not want to share, but that's fine. Um, but yeah, and other than those questions, if you have anything you'd like some input about in life or a song request, let me know. Of course, the Carpenters make me think of is it like you subscribed some other time? Okay, well, I thank you for that. Um, um, yeah, and Indiana, I've been thinking about a friend of mine from Indiana that passed away a little while ago, and I hadn't been able to re-find her obituary, but then I was searching something, I can't remember what, not really connected to her, and one of the posts that came up was a post mentioning her that I'd posted, and the obituary was there, and her name was Riva, Riva. I'm just wrapping up a chat online with somebody here, and happy to be having one with you. We got somebody else also here if you'd like to join the chat. Um, and yeah, I can't remember what part of Indiana she was in. I'm bad at geography, especially the states. And I know I just read it actually. In fact, it's still open here, I think. Um, well, talking about it can help. It really can, especially with the right person. And I do feel like I'm quite smart and quite diverse and easy to talk with. And I'd love to help you out. So if there's a couple things that specifically jump out to you to mention, I welcome you to. I'm also trying to remember. There's a Sabrina Carpenter and um, Thielen. Uh, okay, she was in Ellettsville, but born in Bloomington. Yeah. So, and then if the second person wants to join in, or maybe you want to see how it goes with Jonathan. Out of curiosity, Jonathan, how old are you? I'm just a curious person, like to get to know my viewers a little bit. I'm almost 40 myself. I'm black, by the way. That's fine. No problem there. I don't know if it'd be okay. Actually, that's exactly what I am until next month. I don't know if that's ironic. If it, I don't want to be offensive to say Black Lives Matter, but they do. I would say most lives matter, but I know why that came to be. But again, let's focus on something where that phrase kind of came to be. Um, there's another one that's pretty popular. We just passed a Memorial holiday for them. Yeah, so what's a couple things that stand out that you're going through in your life, and how can I help? And also, what kind of music do you like favorite bands in that? And I'm also talking with this other new friend, and we're really relating with each other, and he's opening up, and that's also great. You like rap music, but I want to talk about that about rap music. No, well, I mean, I don't hate rap music, although I must say I don't do it very often. Let's not say white people can't rap, because some of them can. I do rap fusion sometimes, like I like rap mixed with pop or rock. There's quite a bit of that out there, if there's any songs that come to mind. But I was watching Dr. Phil the other day for the first time in ages. And some of his episodes, many, many years ago when I watched them, I didn't mind them. Um, but he was talking about a topic. I don't know if I should mention it, but I related to it. And he came across more like he wanted to be judgmental of the people, the three people on his panel that he was talking to about it, and the one kind of expert who's written books about it, because of his beliefs and values. Like he had them on the show because he was curious, but really he seemed like he just wanted to state they were wrong, he was right, essentially. And he said that somebody's partner saying, I forget the exact phrase, but something to the effect of, I really appreciate being with you, but he said that takes away everything that they just said. However, I sometimes think in the moment somebody can say but mean and. And definitely in that example, I feel like it was. And you saying I like rap music, but makes me think of that. And he's opening up to me too, and I just did, so I want to be there listening for him. And smoking, okay, cool. Enhance things that you like. At first, I read that enhance things like such as what things, and hopefully good enhancements. And yeah, you haven't mentioned one of the things that you're going through, and it sounds like you're going through a lot. It sounds like it would be helpful to get some of it off your chest and maybe find some healing. And I'm happy that I decided to spur the moment to do this podcast. The Carpenters was in the Mamas and the Papas, right? That's funny because one of the recent covers I did was of them. Well, okay, sorry, I saw that already. Just gonna go put something over there, and I'm trying to decide if I want to plug this in. I have ADHD, and I'm kind of multi-focusing, and I think you're trying to decide what you want to open up about, and so I should just sit quietly and multitask until you do so. And out of curiosity, another curious question, and I read that wrong, but how close are you to 40? Because I've been noticing a lot lately that heading into a next age category has got me got me thinking. You get high off white, and it makes you freaky with others. What do you mean by that? Happy belated, by the way. Mm-hmm. Yes, that does. It's like, am I remembering right, or am I younger? That's definitely not as well. Oh, white smoke. White people. Um, yeah, I guess there can be darker smoke too. That's true. Freaky how, dare I ask? But don't worry, I'll make sure that you keep liking me, because I really do hope that I can help you with something that you're going through in your life right now. Yeah, birthday month is very close to each other too. That's wild. In fact, I did a video recently. I can't remember at the moment what it was titled, but I could say in the comments after this. And I did a video. Um, um, Again, it's maybe it's just how far away I am. It seems like it's not as bright in here, but again, there's no daylight coming through here because it's nighttime here now. And you also said earlier you like rap music, but what? Freaky in what way? And yeah, I'm trying to decide if I should tell this new friend about the YouTube. I want to, but we got you here, so I want to focus on that. And oh, okay, that's what you meant. Cool, cool. And no judge, I mean, I'm not the biggest kink, and I mean, but I accept diverse people, so for the most part. But no, again, I want to get back to the music. I want to get back to. It sounded like you were going through some stuff, such as cool. Actually, one other curious question, aside from deciding what else you want to open up about: do you believe in the afterlife? And that may seem like an interesting question, but there is actually a rap connection that I'm thinking of. And I'm all about interesting questions. I think I might let my friend know about my videos later, but for right now, I'm not sure. Especially since I do got you here chatting, so I appreciate that. And also, have you ever been to Canada? Okay, I think the is to you believe in the afterlife, because you know it does. It comes up from time to time on this channel. This channel is about wellness and uplifting and doing music and healing in various ways, and it comes up that I sometimes do feel the other side, and NDEs and that kind of thing as well. So actually, I had a very special moment. Again, it was probably 2 months ago, and I'd have to look for the video. But I know that it has the name Colton in it on the title. And basically, a friend of mine who passed away quite young of a health thing. I felt like I actually, speaking of stuff, and I don't do stuff like that very often. I'm trying to remember. I think I only had a gummy. I think. What did I just do with that chapstick I just had out? I don't know, but I know I have it here. I guess I'll have to use this one. I don't want to search for it too much. Can't be that far away. But anyway, basically, yeah, I think I'd only had but then I feel like I should have had more than that. But I am a bit of a, or like that, it would have made sense if I'd had more than that. But then again, I have these experiences not on substances as well sometimes. And I'm also a bit of a lightweight. And I remember I was trying to fall asleep, and I was introduced to somebody. Uh, this is not, meant to be sound scary or anything. It was an angelic being. And basically, I don't remember what he first told me, but I came and talked about it on YouTube the next day. And one of the things that he said was that on the other side, he's dating this friend of mine. He was actually a white rapper, and I believe played piano and stuff. And he had me actually, I feel like he had me go to the piano and write a rap song on the spot. Um, and I don't remember what it was about or much about it, other than that it was kind of neat that it happened. Um, and yeah, so, and then I haven't sensed him much since then. My friend a little bit, but not him much. But it's very interesting because of another kind of connection to that. I don't know what your thoughts would be about me trying to bring in one of your loved ones spiritually. Sometimes, like I say, I'm able to do this. But if you'd rather just get advice from me, I appreciate your comments and your what you're saying. But I don't really feel like you've said some of the stresses that you're going through. So I'll ask one more time, and then I'll let it rest, let it be. Here's the thing, too. I will say this. Like I say, I'm quite diverse, and then also, no need to be embarrassed. I mean, yeah, I realize that, and I appreciate it too. Me too. I mean, a lot of us go through similar stuff. I sometimes hate that phrase, "You're not alone," uh, and I think to myself, well, I know other people are going through this, but it's hard. You can feel alone when you're not amongst those people. I'm soon to go to a workshop this coming week. It starts actually, um, and it's a series of 4 or 5, thankfully. So it's not just one. So I'll get to know some people that are going through stuff. I probably won't mention too much about the afterlife, but I can kind of tell who would probably be open to it. As I get to know them. But it kind of is of that theme, um, in a way, healing, people needing healing. Uh, you know, um, but yeah, like I say, so it can feel like it when we feel like we're struggling by ourselves. But honestly and truly, we're not the only ones struggling with most of the things that we're going through. A lot of things are very common to the human experience, and it doesn't really matter your age, your gender, religion, whatever, um, orientation, anything. Um, and the interesting, I mean, the kind of neat thing about it is that, like, again, you can be 18 and going through something that somebody goes through later in life, because maybe you're an old soul, or maybe, you know, they are. It's interesting to think that that's almost like opposites, but kind of, anyway, and you're not high right now. Okay. But, well, you're the only one here right now. Sure, I can sometimes be a bit sensitive, but I'm also pretty strong, and you have me curious. But at the same time, why say something that? I mean, you do have me curious. I'll say that much. But why say something if you think it might offend somebody? Who wants that? Who likes that? But you do have me curious. Anywho, what was I saying? I was saying something a moment ago before that. Oh, and again, I don't mean to say that someone's race isn't something, but a white person goes through the same things different things, but also same things because they're both human as somebody in any other culture. So, um, if you're thinking, and maybe you're not, but if you're thinking that you don't know if I'd understand as a white guy, try me. I might. But again, I'm not sure if that's what I'm not sure what's on your mind, what you've been going through. Yeah, I wish I knew where I'd put that other thingamajig. Oh well, I did find that one, so that's the main thing. But I was just using it a little while ago. I'm actually wearing a thing that says in French "Heart of Gold." So, and by thing I mean shirt. Okay. So you said that you have seen this channel before, I think, but I don't know what you mean by I don't know how you went to the channel before. However, you will notice that I have shared on this channel that, or maybe you won't notice, but you'll notice now, and you're the only one here right now, so that I am actually bi. So I get that. I get that. And I'm with an older white man. I've been with a black person once, an Indian person once. Anyway, but this is YouTube. Why am I talking about this? And Chapstick if you're curious, Chapstick if you're not. And this I do it again. In fact, he was in a relationship, but they were open. So, well, now you do. But again, for me, it's an orientation. Like I don't have to be on a substance to be who I am, and I accept myself. So, I mean, I'm not sure. It's sounding like you feel like you have to be high, but maybe you don't. You know, and there are so many facets to connection, and so many things that can bring intimacy between people. So, I mean, you know, yeah. One thing I do kind of want to say is, and this probably is obvious, but just in case it isn't, as a counselor and coach, I mean, I'm still human, right? So I still go through stuff. 34 years ago. It has it? What do you mean by that? 34 years ago. Oh, 3 or 4. I was like at 4 or 5 years old, if I'm doing the math right. I was like, what? I mean, I know, teenagers do things, but okay. I'm curious what kind of substance and if you're still using. But yeah, so I mean, I'm going through stuff too. This is true. And I could maybe open up a bit about that. Yeah, I don't know that slang. Oh, okay. Currently? I mean, I don't mean to make a connection, but I kind of am. And I'm curious. Another curious question here. If you're homeless or not. No judgment. Again, we're just getting to know each other. So when you were saying hi earlier, you were referring to something more than the green. More than greenery. Why is it doing that? Sorry, I'm just trying to. Okay, I see. I don't see most of the tabs I usually see. You don't upload any videos, eh? Okay. You're living with someone right now. Okay. And what I get from that is that you maybe were homeless or almost homeless, but you got somewhere you're staying now. Oh, you have a job. Okay. Well, these are good things. Now, perhaps what you and okay, perhaps what you were alluding to earlier is maybe something to do with a difficulty in your living situation or some problem with your job. Because the truth is that when we have those two things, they can bring us stress, and they are the two things that are, when we have them, they make up so much of our lives, right? Working and our living situation. A little earlier, I was mentioning how I don't have a super distracting home environment, but I know some people do, you know. Um, and we have a second person just tuned in and gave a like, so I appreciate that as well. Again, curious if you've been to the channel before, how you came across it. Yeah, and anything else you want to put in the chat if you would like to. You're not interrupting us. Oh, but you took the like back for some reason. Did you mean to? And if so, how come? Just wondering. But yeah, so how's your living situation? How's your job? Is it something that you'd like some input on? Just because I don't, I may not relate to those two things doesn't mean that I can't help. I've lived a life who is more about the adoption part or addiction part. What do you mean, who is? And now it says it, but that's sometimes inaccurate. Oh, it is. Well, mate, I just got to say this. Okay. Which must be hard when you're watching a video and it's hearing the other person. Is there a particular reason that you voice the text? I mean, he does it all the time, but I would imagine possibly that things are hard in your living situation and your job because of the crack use. And I would also venture to guess that you don't really want to be using that substance. Ironic. Okay. That you don't really want to be using that substance. Now, at this point, and you said 3 or 4 years, at this point, you're using because it's an addiction. You're using because your body's used to doing so. This could be pretty deep and powerful. I'd like you to think back to when you started using. What caused it? Now, if you say the people you were around were using, although that's a valid reason, and sometimes it's hard to disconnect from friends, or whatever, that, when they're using it, we don't want to abandon our friends, but they're wanting us to use, and so we mix the two together. So maybe it's that, maybe it's another reason, maybe it's I used to move it. Used to move it. I like to move it. Sorry. What do you mean? Or is that another typo? What's the text is tight for you? Oh, sell it. Okay. Actually, that slang is familiar now, I think. Yeah, we're 39 minutes in. So nobody else is here but you right now, even though it's indicating that. So me saying it out loud, they won't. But I'll try to read your comment because I know she took that comment back, possibly intentionally. I'll try to read your comments to myself. I believe I've only have them set while live to show, so I'm not deleting anything. It's just the setting. Um, Sometimes even when I don't have it set that way, it it's still shows. But anyway, but I'll try to read them quietly. Your replies if you prefer. Um, so you used to sell it. I mean, part of me thinks the answer is obvious. You needed money. I mean, and it can be hard. It can be hard to find employment. What kind of job do you have for yourself now? And have you had it long? I would imagine it'd be hard to hold down a job if they knew that you had an addiction like that. So maybe you haven't had it for very long, or you're just good at hiding it and not doing it there. Um, I don't know if it's obvious or not. I do not have, with my personal background and experience, a lot of experience with addiction. Mental health, definitely. And obviously that comes into this, that it's such a big part of our lives, us and the people we know. We all have a mind. Sometimes it struggles in life. And there's also genetics, and that can cause mental health issues, right? We got a second person here. Welcome. Don't be shy to join in. But yeah, so I just want to say to both of you, and one of you just tuned in, but I just want to say that I do wish the best for you both. I really do. I really do. So it's not necessarily an enjoyable job. What would be your dream job, mate? What would be your, or what kind of work would you like to do? Because I bet it's not cleaning. I could be wrong, but and I'm glad that doesn't sound like I'm just making a bunch of presumptions. Like I say, I'm saying I would guess, but maybe I'm wrong, right? um, so when you're distracted at work, of course, depending on what products you use, right? Um, yeah, so I truly do wish the best for both of you. Even though I'm only kind of familiar with one of you, and the other one, hasn't said anything yet. Um, yeah, and to be quite honest, following up with that, and it's fine. You're at where you're at in your life, but it truly does hurt my heart a little bit to hear that you felt like you had to do that other thing to get by in life, and now it's caused another struggle for you. There's probably a part of you that likes doing it, and it gives you some sort of comfort and familiarity, um, and buzz and stuff. You got it. Here on YouTube, I mean, your name's pretty common, but here on YouTube, we certainly can be. I try to go live most days. I do have a busy kind of later in the week, but other than that, I'm fairly available. I don't go live at a specific time every day. It's kind of when the ideas strike. I mean, to be honest, I have done videos, not with the exact same title, but kind of like this before. And there's a lot on YouTube. And people sometimes judge too quickly, or they have ADHD, although you can also hyperfocus if you really want to, right? And so sometimes those videos are quiet. But I appreciate that we got three of you here. One of you has joined the conversation, is being very brave, and right on to that. I have a phrase that I've started to use, that I live to help, but I die sometimes when I don't feel like I get to. It's not about me most of the time, but helping can be mutual. Like with our commenter Jonathan, okay, I cannot relate to the thing that he is most strongly sharing about. I related to a couple of other things a little bit, but I don't relate to that. Um, but and I forget what I was going to say connected to that. But I can empathize with it. I can see how it would cause some difficulties in life. And if I could suggest some things to help, and I appreciate the second like there, I would say, look at the people. You took it back. Right? Look at unless you just like what I was saying there. But you realize when you take it back, then it's no longer there, right? Anyway, I would say that look at some of the people that you're hanging around. Okay. And most of us will, more than once in our life, go through times where we have fallouts with people, or we realize that somebody's toxic for us. And, I sometimes think the word boundaries is an excuse to avoid somebody or a situation and not try and fix it. But I do think that sometimes you have to have them. I mean, it makes me think about how I actually have one with my own mother. But we've seen each other a little bit lately. And in fact, we're going to be seeing each other quite a bit in October because she's going to be helping me get to those workshops and back. And to another activity, we might go out for lunch. To be honest, as much as I'm looking forward to it, I'm also a little bit anxious. It's like, that's going to be around here a lot more than I have in the past 3 or 4 years. And I don't know what to expect from that. But anyway, and there's other examples I could say. But I would say, thank you, I would say that sometimes you have to cut people out of your life. What's interesting about life is that if they are meant to come back into it, they will. But I would say to that, tread careful. Okay? I recently went through a fallout with somebody. Now, it was not because they were necessarily toxic, but they were being wishy-washy to a point where it was frustrating to me. And I haven't thought about it a lot since it happened, but a little bit. And so it's hard to go through that, right? But honestly, like, one of my biggest suggestions in suggesting that to you is if you're around other people that have drug addictions. Like, I don't know if you've been through an addictions program or, detox and stuff like that, which, true, you're going to be around other people. And I've heard people say it before, you're amongst people that are trying to get better, some that have been forced to be there, some that are trying but not doing very well with it, and it's just like I did a video with a message to people that are in wards and hospices. And can't remember what I was going to say there, but something that I said just prior to that made me think of that video. They aren't always the most healing places. What I might also suggest to you, if you can do this, is that you look for some sort of retreat to go to. Some sort of, whether we want to call it a yoga retreat or even a class, like a yoga class or some sort of class. But again, I'm hesitant to say that until, not knowing entirely what what how severe your addiction is, you know, and like if it sounds like you only use sometimes, which might not mean daily then, whereas some people are daily, you know, um, but some sort of escape from where you're at now amongst people that have signed up for a healing journey, you know, that most likely haven't been forced to whatever this program, a weekend excursion, whatever. They want to be there because they like what this stuff has, and hopefully you will as well. Now, if you are heavily in your addiction, um, I am going to suggest, please don't hold me to this if you get in trouble. I am going to suggest, and I don't know, I don't think these kind of things would look through your belongings. It depends on your traveling, though, and how you would get there. I would say, and I think this is a good suggestion, I hope it is, I would say bring a little bit with you. This way, you know that you do have some with you if you get the urge. But then also tell yourself, and if you get caught, tell them this as well. Tell yourself it's more of a comfort crutch kind of thing that you brought it with you if you can safely do so. Um, but you're going to this thing, and I hope you can find something and let me know in the comments later. You're going to this thing with the intent to try and stay away from that stuff and focus on what this thing you're at can bring you. If you really can't ignore the urge, so that you don't go feel like you're going insane, find somewhere private by yourself maybe, and but otherwise, try and focus on what you're there for. And I'd love to have an update for you on that. I mean, I don't know. Part of me is a little bit surprised that just flowed out like it did. But I think it's a good suggestion. Like if I was to tell you to not go with any, I think you would find that very hard and perhaps, and it would ruin the experience you're trying to have. And I also don't want you to have to go wandering around in an unfamiliar place trying to get something, and, I don't know what the rules are like in those kind of places. And so this is not me. I want to be clear to people. This is not me necessarily encouraging an addiction. Okay. But what it is understanding that this is where someone's at right now. And I'm not going to suggest quit cold turkey. Again, I don't know, John, if you have been trying to quit, if you're a daily user. I don't know. So, what are your thoughts on that? I think I know what you're saying there. A GLBT men's retreat it is. And you know what I would love? I'm going to add something to this. I hope you can find something. My friend Riva that I mentioned had passed away a while ago that was in that same place. She had been homeless. I can't remember, but I think she had some addiction issues, actually. And I wish I could ask her for advice. I don't know if I know anybody else there closely. Too bad you're not in Alabama. I've been talking with somebody from there earlier tonight. What I would like to suggest is if you do find such a thing and you do find yourself there, I took a quick look. It doesn't look like you have any content on your channel. I would love for you to create some while you're there. even if it's recording it and uploading it later when you're able, if you're not able to do it live streamed. And I have your channel open, so I'll remember to subscribe. And yeah, follow your journey. I know that we're almost in winter. Not quite, but we're almost in winter. So I don't know, but there's maybe ones that happen indoors, or maybe it's not where you live that you're meant to do it. But then, you have to be careful with your traveling, right? I would say don't go anywhere that's more than, like, you have other states around you, right? So don't go anywhere that's more than maybe a couple hours away. Now, something else I don't know is if you have pets. But you did say that you live with somebody. So hopefully if you do, you would trust them with watching your pet. And maybe you could do little video calls, to your pet. Although we thought about doing that when we traveled once, and we thought, oh, that's going to get him worked up, and he's going to wonder, where we're at and want us to come back. But at the same time, they'd be missing you anyway, right? Well, thank you. I was going to say I try, but actually I don't. Okay. So yes, I look forward to hearing an update from you on that. I'm just trying to think of how to articulate in word one other thing that's kind of coming to mind. And it's essentially this. I want you to know, brother, that you have everything that you need within you, and that you can also work towards getting it. You don't need the drugs to get you there. You don't need the drugs to fill that spot in you that you can put on your channel, like, in the info section, that is causing you to use them. And I hope that you start to notice that. In the meantime, we can certainly be chatting here on any of my videos that I've already posted, that I post, again. Having someone here when I'm actually rolling live is really nice, And I did have a bit of retention. Maybe something I said spoke to somebody that was here earlier. One or two people was liking, unliking, but it could have just been, ooh, I like that he said that. And then they accidentally unclicked it, or they wanted to wait till the next time they like something that they heard. Unfortunately, they left without the like sticking, but whatever. You've got yours, and I'm happy for that. Now, I should wrap up soon, but do you have a song request? Again, I don't know a lot of rap, but I know some. But if you know of any rap pop, rap rock, I think that's a thing, combos, I might be able to give it a roll. And welcome to the other person that's just tuned in. Don't be shy. Because I'd like to share my other ability for you, aside from being helpful to people, is, and I really thank you for giving me that opportunity tonight. It really does mean a lot to me. And yeah, I think it's helping you a little bit, I hope. But yeah, I am also musical. Let me just see here. I have something open from the other day. I think it's a country song I'm not that familiar with. I just have it open. So yeah, think on it. And to the second person, maybe you have a song request. I'm terrible at thinking up songs myself, to be honest, sometimes. I don't think that's that weird, necessarily. It's okay to be unique. But I think one thing you got to start telling yourself is, as unique as you are, You're likable and you're lovable. We all need to remember that. It can be hard to feel it at times and believe it, perhaps. But I really think going to something like I suggested, thank you, would be helpful for you, because you'd also make some connections that could be very great. Out of curiosity, what are the closest parts to Ontario that you're near? I'm bad at geography myself. Maybe you are too. You might have to look it up. I don't know. And I appreciate the compliment. I bet I would say the same to you, but again, you don't have any content posted, so you're just a J with an orange circle saying, having a lovely conversation with me. In fact, that Celine, I think was her name, carpenter that I knew, I believe she was also bi, and she was black and very pretty. Quite I think she worked in the entertainment industry, actually. Okay, I need a song. I need a song, and I need it now. I'm going to ask a friend, who I will eventually probably tell about my YouTube, a new friend of mine, if they have any favorite songs. Is that a singer? Obviously, I've never heard of them if it is, because, yeah, I never heard of them. Jelly Roll. Okay. It's interesting. That's very interesting, actually. I have done a couple Jelly Roll covers fairly recently on here, so maybe I'll just sing a snippet. During this video, and what actually inspired it is I was actually reminded of somebody in my life from high school, a guidance counselor. I think she also worked at my grade school too, actually. Oh, is that what his actual name is? Oh, I didn't know that. And her name was Suzette. Speaking of fallouts, there's a Suzanne that a couple of them I'm hoping to reconnect with, but I don't know one's last name. The other one actually has the last name that matches somebody famous that passed away recently. Anyway, so that's what kind of gave the. But just before that, I was looking at people asking what, and I had a video recently. I think I did anyway, or I asked it within a video where I said, "What is the song that describes your life?" Or what songs relate to your life the most? And I mean, he's definitely been through some stuff. It's true. But G would say most people in the entertainment industry, but I don't think that's necessary. I mean, as far as like addictions and stuff, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but a lot have. Don't play it now. Don't play what? Oh, I don't think you've said a specific song. Oh, right, but maybe he's only done one with it, with that person. It was a joiner effort. Anywho, and it said your favorite anthems, but then the post reloaded, and I couldn't get back to it. But one of the top comments was actually Jelly Roll. Now, obviously, in all of this stuff that I said to you, I don't believe this to be true. But because it's the only song that I'm thinking of at the moment, I'll sing a little snippet. Maybe I should look up the lyrics. I'm just a lost cause, so don't waste time on me. Damage beyond repair. Someone shattered my hopes and my dreams. But we're here to put you back together so that you can be the best you can be. Here's another very popular song. I lose control when you're not here with me. I'm falling apart Oh, baby, can't you see? Automatic. Oh, that's Teddy Swims. Sorry. I confused the two. I don't know why. Because actually, okay. Well, the second picture doesn't look like him, but they do kind of look alike, no? I'm just going to look up the lyrics, okay? Also, I want to say this. I'm agnostic, all right? And I'm pretty open and diverse, like I say. But I just want to take a moment to thank the above for introducing me to you tonight and for letting me have a chat with you. I really have appreciated it. Um, Hallelujah. um, this is very interesting. If I can ask what the song title is, I think I may have found it. And what's very interesting is that I search for the lyrics and it just gives me a sample of the lyrics. I'm not. I think I'm pretty laid back and easy to chat with. But I get what you're saying. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I'm slightly surprised that I'm talking to someone that's had the addiction difficulties that you've had. But at the end of the day, you're one of my fellow humans on this earth. I mean, you know, that's the name of the song. Okay, then that's not what I was seeing. But let me just see here. I think you're saying that's the name of the song. And of course, that does make me think of another song. Are you still there? Can't tell. I don't think that's the name of the song because I searched that and I don't find it. I find Best for Me. How can you love someone and learn to let them go? Maybe that's what you think. Okay. Um, um, but I do. Whoops. I don't know what that is. I do know. Oh, that's interesting. There's actually a YouTube video, which is a therapist reacting to that. I've seen those kind of reaction videos before, and then Lemon has some good ones too. Um, Let it go. Would you laugh if I would you judge me if I did the song from Frozen? I know it's not snowing yet, but it's another one. There's also all they know you love when you're feeling low. All they just know when you're missing home. All they know you love her if you let her go. Oh, all they know you've been high when you're feeling low. All that's the road and you're missing home. Only know you love her when you let her go. Oh, and you let her go. No cap legend. What do you mean? Hi. Well, I'm sure having an interesting conversation. Yeah, helping out. Are you saying something about this? Helping out someone with a drug addiction. Oh, okay. Yeah, surprise. uh, oh, that's what it's called. But it seemed to be saying best for me. You can check just to check the incense. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're about to burn some sage and what was the other one? Cedar or something like that? But I'm having difficulties. I might have to listen to the video. So maybe what I'll suggest is that you did I plug in? No, he's got the phone upstairs. is that you come back to this video afterwards, after it's posted, and comment, and I'll let you know what I think of it. I'll give it a listen. I think that I think that I will do that. I can't just put it in the chat because the chat will be done when the video is done. Yeah, because that website didn't load, and then we got lots of YouTube ones. So yeah. Well, I did sing a little bit for you, so at least there was that. I have the urge to rap, but I don't know what I'd be rapping. But I do sometimes have a little phrase that I use that I'm going to wrap this up, put a bow on it. So, out of curiosity, just one more thing. Do you have anything that you're looking forward to this coming week? I mean, I guess you could say looking into those retreats, or trying to think of another word for it. Getaway weekend, maybe men's getaway. They don't specifically be for men, but, and I mean, it's not like certain urges are taken away if you choose the men's side of things. But but is there anything else that you got coming up that you're looking forward to? And I think as far as your living situation, if there's any difficulties there, just, ask the person that you're living with for some understanding and some empathy, because you're going through a hard time right now, but you're working on it and you appreciate having a place to stay with them. Maybe it's not always easy, but, that you got to try and keep respecting each other and that you're doing your best, something to that effect. Whether I'll actually cover that song, and I think you were suggesting that I don't, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know what the content. I mean, I have a guess, but yeah. I hope that you have some things that you're looking forward to this week. I know that I do, but I also have a lot of spare time too. So, and that comes first, actually. So, maybe we'll catch each other on here tomorrow or Tuesday, and yeah. It's very important to not burn yourself out, but keep yourself busy. And of course, when you're having certain struggles, it may be easier to burn yourself out, or if you have health issues too, or whatever. But to keep yourself busy, to keep, to do hobbies. Like, what kind of hobbies do you have? Okay. Here it is just after 8:30, just a few minutes after 8:30. The earliest that I would roll, and I may be hyped up about something, or I may be feeling slow because it's morning, would probably be about, 8:30, actually, 8:30 or 9 o'clock a.m. But I realize that not everybody has a consistent bedtime or sleeps well some nights. So you may not be able to say, okay, I'll be there. Or maybe you'll be like, I enjoyed this so much, I'm setting my alarm clock after this stream. I don't know. But, and yeah, but I probably will roll tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to do. If you have suggestions, feel free to put them. As far as topics, obviously thinking up songs is a bit challenging. And I understand that. But yeah. And then after Wednesday and Thursday, I'm sure I'll have some stuff to talk about specifically that I'd rather talk with you tomorrow than Mark. If he sees this, no offense to him, but okay, yeah, cool. And don't be shy. I can tell that you're mostly not, and that's cool. When you're not shy, you can get to know each other as people better, and find out that you get along quite nicely, and you have things in common, and you can learn a lot from each other, and it's a lovely thing. Yeah, out of curiosity, what is our time difference? It's about 20 to 9 here right now. But yeah, so I I sometimes roll in the evening, although I'm so glad, you had the other person in the house and on this channel had the laptop most of the day. And the other day, the cell phone, when I was rolling live, it kind of trimmed off some. Oh, really? As I was rolling. So I'm hesitant to use that. But I have the laptop during the day and sometimes, or somewhat in the evening. But I find it hard sometimes to get through certain days, and yeah, I got what you were saying. And so when I find that, I'm lonely and I know I'm not the only one, or I'm bored, or I want to, distract myself, from certain things, sometimes I will come here. So I think it's pretty likely that it will be before the evening tomorrow. I just don't know what it will be. Like I say, if you have a topic suggestion, that's something you'd like to see me talk about tomorrow, even if it is on the replay, feel free to put that in the chat or in the comment section. I almost don't want it to keep me up, but I can just say I'll wake up in the morning and look at it then. Um, and yeah, um, wake up in the morning. Oops. Uh, I gotcha. It's all good. As long as my app behaves. Whoops. Um, at the moment, it's not. But yeah, well, you have a good night. And again, like I say, if you think of any topic, either before I wrap up, after I wrap up, while you're trying to sleep, something you'd like to hear me talk about, or songs, feel free to put them. Otherwise, I'll just kind of go with where idea comes from. Or I'll do something like this, you know. But I must say, sometimes it's kind of quiet when I do. And it's not very fulfilling or healing to either of us when that's the case. So I'm thankful that you opened up today, John, tonight. Yeah. Um, but I think I have to let the other person in the home to this device soon. And I'm going to unwind the rest of my evening. Just double checking something. It was John, not Jonathan, and there was an H in John. Is that correct? To both? Thanks. I appreciate you as well. No. Okay, I shouldn't have done that. Just a minute here. Okay. One moment here. Okay. I'll do that. Okay. I don't know why I thought that, but okay. Well, I'm gonna wrap her up. Wrap her up. Minus the wrapping. I don't know, but I got a capping. Talk to you later. Catch you on the flip. I don't know. Watch out for the slip. I don't know. Have a good sleep, peep. I don't know. On the spot, not so great. But I do play piano and guitar. Keep that in mind. Yeah. Okay. Take care. Glad we kept each other company tonight for a bit. Thanks for the heart.